Alright guys, so welcome to another video. This one's going to be all about which scx24 to buy, what upgrades to get for it, and what you should upgrade first, what you should consider upgrading, just things like that. So start off with, this is my truck. This is the C10 model. You can see it pictured back here on the box also. That's the gray version. I have the greenish blue version. It's more of a green, but it almost looks blue. I don't know what you'd call this, like a seafoam green. I got this one just because it's the best looker. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the worst performers out of the box, mainly because of tire size and such. But the body it's my favorite. You don't get this roll bar thing, cage, whatever you want to call it. I custom made that, but you do get a like a chrome roll bar that attaches into the bed here with those holes you can see up towards the cab, right here, and then down here. So you do get a roll bar and like some little light buckets, but you can see it on the box there on the gray one. I think it looks better on the gray one than it does on this. It doesn't look too good on this one. Kind of ruins the look of it in my opinion. But as you can see, this thing's got the chrome rear bumper attached to the truck itself, the chrome grille, which I have cut up, and then it does come with a bumper, but I've also taken that off, you know, just for performance reasons. But this one out of the box, probably you're looking at one of the worst performers. The Jeep and the Deadbolt both have bigger tires, I believe, and due to the body style of them, you can easily fit bigger aftermarket tires than this. You had to trim the body a lot on this or jack it up, and obviously that hurts performance because you want to get the thing as low as possible so it'll just climb up 90-degree walls. But I didn't go with too big of a tire on this for that reason. The Patagonia, which is a really good tire, probably one of the best RC four-wheel drive tires, but it is fairly small, and that was the main influence for the decision. If I'd have to buy one again, if I'd have to get rid of this one and buy another one, probably go with the Jeep. I think it's the best mix between out-of-the-box performance, upgradability, and looks. The Deadbolt, in my opinion, just doesn't look that good. It's kind of like a custom axial design made to look like an old Bronco. And as far as pricing goes, the C10 and the Jeep, I believe, are like $10 more than the Deadbolt, and I guess that just comes down to a licensing fee. You can pick these up online for like $135, and the Deadbolt's like $120. But I bought this one in a hobby town in a brick and mortar store, and it was $120 after taxes, like $126, so not too bad. But opening it up here, I'm gonna show you some of the things I think you guys should upgrade immediately once you get the thing. The electronics are a big issue in this thing. Not necessarily the battery or this ESC receiver combo, but the servo and the motor are way underpowered. If you do the servo saver mod on the stock servo arm / saver, where you glue it together, it'll cause your servo to strain a lot, and it'll break very quickly. I haven't seen this firsthand, but I've heard of people it happening to them fairly commonly. Luckily, I upgraded this before that happened. But as far as the motor goes, it comes with this tiny little 030 motor. This one is burnt out. I burnt this motor out. As you can see, much smaller than the 050 motor I have in there now. But it's underpowered, you know. It's especially once you start adding weight to it. Like mine burnt out even with just these wheels, the stamped steel wheels, which are heavier than the plastic ones, but that's all I did, and it burnt this motor out. So I would recommend going with an 050 brush motor, or PN Racing makes like a 130 or something, which is pretty big. But if you want to go the brushless route, which is, if you have the money, I'd highly recommend it. Some good combos down that road are on Mofo RC's website. He has his Nano Beast 2.0 motor, and he has a combo where you can get that with the Lizard Pro ESC for $125. And if you don't know, you can just use this as a receiver and bypass the ESC. You just plug your ESC into channel 2, and it'll completely bypass the ESC in here. Just make sure you don't plug the battery into here or the motor, or else, you know, it won't work right, or you'll cause some fires or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's so you can use this as just a receiver, or you can get something like the Fly Sky FS GT5. It's like a $75 radio, super great. You can't beat the thing. You need like a $300 radio to do better than that, but you can get receivers for those to throw in here for really cheap, and that's a good option. There's also the Fury Tech combos where they give you one of their ESCs, like the Lizard or the TU. I would honestly go with the Lizard Pro if you have the money, or just the basic Lizard. I'm going to put a basic Lizard in this thing because I'm never going to really need the 3S capability. I'm just going to run this thing on 2S, and I don't really need the bigger BEC. But if you want to run the thing on 3S and go balls to the wall, I'd recommend getting the Lizard Pro for 80 bucks. And then they don't actually have a combo yet with the Lizard Pro, but the motor and the motor mount and the gears you need for the Komodo motor, which is their brushless outrunner motor, is the motor is 50 bucks with the everything you need to mount it. And then the Lizard Pro is 80, the normal Lizard's like 65, and the TU is around that same price. And they have a few others, but they're not as commonly used, so I don't know much about them. But yeah, so that's what you can do for power plant wise. Servo wise, I've got this Emax servo. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend this. Not that much. It's good. It's better than stock. It'll get the job done with something smaller like these, unless you get in a really high grip situation or your tire's really stuck in between two rocks and it'll stall out and it won't do anything. Or if you're like running on an indoor course with something like carpet or something really grippy, it just won't do the job. So I'd recommend getting either an Eco Power or the Mofo RC Black Label. And for that, you'll need, well, for both of those, or really any aftermarket servo, you can get, or you need to get a aftermarket servo mount. And so just pick up one of those while you're at it. And some other options for servos, if you really want to give this thing the juice, you can go with a Reefs 99 micro servo. AGFRC makes a micro servo, but they're expensive, and they're honestly, those are the kind of things you only put on like a, I don't know, unless you're running like the absolute biggest tires and you want full balls to the wall performance, like you don't want your tires to ever not turn, then that's the kind of servo you get. But Eco Power or the Black Label Mofo servo will do better, or they'll do plenty good, especially the Black Label servo for like $21, I believe. It'll do anything you want. I'm still running the stock battery. You can get bigger batteries, but this one gives me enough runtime, and it doesn't take very long to charge. The 2S is fine for me. I don't really need 3S, especially on this tiny little truck. I think 3S would be fun to have the wheel speed and the power, but 2S does me just fine. And I'm getting a base Fury Tech Lizard for this, not the Pro version. And the plan is to eventually get a Mofo RC Nano Beast 2.0 for this. Just because the main difference between the Komodo and the Nano Beast is the Nano Beast is much smaller, and it'll mount down here like this motor does, but your Komodo will mount in the middle up front, but it'll be way high up in the air, so it'll throw your center of gravity way up. And also I've got, you know, the battery up here, so the Komodo wouldn't fit. So I'm going to go with the Nano Beast with the original mount, which is the one that faces backwards, but he's now released one that goes forward for better center of gravity. But like I was saying before, that'll interfere with my setup, and I want to keep this, so just going to go with the Nano Beast 2.0, throw that right there with his mount. Yeah, and then once you've got the electronics out of the way, there's really nothing on this thing that's going to break, honestly. Unless you're jumping this thing off your roof, I don't see you breaking anything. Well, yeah, so as far as performance upgrades goes, tires and wheels should be top of the list. These stock tires right here, these are the C10 stock tires. They're fairly good tread pattern, and they're no foams and vented, but they're just kind of hard, you know. They're good lookers, you know. The wheels are nice, it's KMC licensed wheels, but they're just kind of hard and they don't grip well, so I'd recommend getting rid of those. Here's a size comparison between the new ones and the C10 wheels, or the C10 tires. The new ones are a little shorter, but they're going to give you way more performance. I'm running my RC4 drive Patagonias, vented and no foams. Probably not the best setup I could have gone with, but I've already done it, so I don't feel like changing it back, and I'm getting some Hyraxes soon. So as far as tire recommendation goes, anything by RC4 wheel drive is going to do you good. These Patagonias are really good indoors, but I run outdoors a lot. As soon as these things get filled up with mud or dirt or dust, they don't want to grip. I can't do anything on my course once these things get dirty, so I've got to clean them every time I run, or I just got to wait until it's really dry outside. And right now it's, you know, it's dead middle of winter. It's snowing, it's raining, everything's wet all the time, so yeah, it's not good. I'm actually getting a set of Hyraxes for these. I've heard they're good outdoors. Honestly, for the price, I would recommend going with the Hyraxes. Proline is a tried and true brand. You know, if it works on 10 scale, surely it works on 24th. Believe they're slightly bigger than this by like 4 millimeters, so they're not much size difference from these. We have a hand for comparison. There's an AirPods case. You can see they're about the size of that. But yeah, once you get some wheels and tires, you'll be doing a lot better. As far as wheels goes, these stamp steel beadlock wheels from RC 4-wheel drive are good, and they have some aftermarket upgrades, like Full Send RC makes some wheel weights that'll fit right into the back of these, and they're super heavy. They'll get you some really low CG, and they'll do you good. They are a little hard to mount just because they're cheaper. I've heard some of the more expensive RC 4-wheel drives aren't worth the money, like the wheels. You know, you're getting into the $70–$80 range. Mofo RC just came out with some wheels, his UPWs or ultra premium wheels, and I think there's another option like the deep dish wheels or something. But those have interchangeable rings. They look great, and I'm pretty sure they're much cheaper than the expensive RC 4-wheel drives. So I would recommend going with those. And I'm probably going to switch to those here soon when I get the money. Yeah, so wheels and tires, knock that out after you do electronics or in whatever order you want, but you kind of risking if you don't change your electronics because they could burn out and you'd be left for, you know, however long delivery takes without your truck. So after these, honestly, this isn't much of an upgrade, but I'd recommend picking them up anyway, is getting some tools. This is just a cheap Enduro driver, 1.3 millimeter. I think the technical size for these screws is like 1.27, but 1.3 fits really tight, so you're not going to strip them out. You can also use the 0.50 inch driver from MIP. I've seen people using that. And then these RC 4-wheel drive wheels, these stamped steel. I don't know about the other ones. I think it's just the stamped steel. Come with this. This is a 4 millimeter tool. Take the wheels off. If you have a T-wrench from like a Traxxas or I don't really know where else you can get them. I'm sure you can buy them somewhere, but I know Traxxas vehicles come with them. They have a 7, a 5.5, a 5, and a 4 millimeter side, so you can just use the 4 millimeter side for your wheels. But yeah, so as far as tools goes, that's pretty much all you're gonna need. I think the only different screws on here are, I think the original servo arm screw is a 1.5. This is a 1.3, but I think it's originally a 1.5, and the motor screws are 1.5s. And so for that, if you're just gonna be using it for this truck, I would go with something pretty mid-range, you know, not super expensive and not super cheap. But if you're going to use, if you have like 10 scale vehicles, I would honestly just recommend getting an MIP 1.5, super high quality. You're not going to strip out any screws. You especially want it for the small screws because they're super easy to strip out, like pinion gears and such on 10 scale vehicles. 1.5, a nice high quality driver comes in handy. So as far as immediate upgrades go, those are going to be your biggest performance changers. And then it's really up to you from there, what you want to do with the truck. I went with like a comp style. I'm still upgrading this thing. It's not even close to done. Got the super low stance. There's some free upgrades you can do, like these bent high clearance links and the front 4 link. made a video all about how to do that in the my first video, the 4 link tutorial. So that'll teach you how to do that. As far as weights go, anything towards the outside of the axle nearest the tire that doesn't rotate is going to be your best option. And you also want it to be unsprung. And if you don't know what that means, you want it to be attached to the axle. You don't want it to be on, like, pressuring down on these springs in any way. Like, anything attached to the frame is going to be sprung weight. It's going to be pushing down on your shocks. That's not as important when you're running like me and you have no springs. It's not as important on these small vehicles, especially because they're going super slow. But on a fast vehicle, you definitely don't want a lot of sprung weight. But yeah, just try to keep it non-rotational, like stationary weight that doesn't rotate with the tires. Try to keep it low. Well, I mean, that's the whole objective, you know, keep it low. But yeah, there's some good options on the market, like brass diff covers, hex weights, patty weights, skid plates, stuff like that. If you want cheap brass, Enduro is a good place to go. If you want something a little nicer, there's always Mofo RC, Yeah Racing, Hot Racing. I think Yeah Racing makes a whole kit to change everything metal, like your drive shafts, your links, your like diff covers everything. It's like brass and aluminum mixed together, and so those are all good upgrades. So as far as immediate upgrades go, that's what I would go with. Of course, I got some other upgrades on here too, like these shocks. These are great. The hot racing and telescoping shocks, other companies make them. Yeah, so pretty much everything I've done to this thing so far I'm happy with, so I don't have anything bad to tell you guys, like, not to buy this product. Except for maybe this motor, it's not the best. I'd recommend looking into other options, like I was saying before, like the OXO50 motor I know is really good. The PN Racing brush is good, and those brushless motors I was talking about. But if you want good product reviews and showcases, I would recommend checking out 2FMRC. He makes great reviews, showcases, he gives good tutorials, he gives running footage, he gives you the pros and cons, pricing, everything. It's great. If you want to see product showcases and tutorials on how to put things together, MoFRC is great because he does videos on how to put most of his things together, like his chassis. He gives showcases on his motor, things like that. So it's really nice seeing videos coming straight from the maker on how to do things. So yeah, that's all I've got for this one. Hopefully this video inspired somebody to go and buy something for theirs. And if you have any more questions about anything I was talking about, leave it down in the comments. And that's it.